Well, I can go. I read it as it goes. So
Yeah, fuck it. Whatever. We're just going to dive
yeah,
into it. Who
let's dive
cares?
into it.
Yeah. Welcome to Film School Dropouts, everyone. It's been a minute.
How's everyone doing?
I'm not even going to do the intro because I don't even remember it. So my name's James, and I'm here with Brent, and he's got 17 other personalities. Kent, um, Svent,
Trent,
of course, Trent. We all
obviously
know Trent.
He's the dominant.
He's the one who has the light.
Yeah,
Got
he
it,
does
got it.
have the light.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
the rest are kind of inconsequential to Trent and Brent,
can I just call
but they
you
do
Trent?
pay rent.
So I'm here. Okay. Oh, he's a poet, and God damn it.
I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah, this is a rough start, folks. It's been a minute. We're rusty.
Welcome. Yeah, figuring this out again.
Oh God, it's been like 2 months since we recorded, I think.
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think both of us have had horrible stress in our lives, and we were like, we need a break. So we're back, I guess, feeling a little better. I don't know.
We had to come back to our comfort zone. Well, maybe partial comfort zone.
God, I just coughed. What a terrible podcast this is. All right. So what do we do on this show? We talk about directors.
We're talking about directors' filmographies.
Full
We are
filmography.
in the midst of covering M. Night Shyamalan. Today we are talking about Split.
Split.
This
Yes.
was a pretty well-received one.
Yes. So he does, just as a quick recap for everyone who, I don't know, for whatever reason, if you're jumping on the Split episode, we covered all of his films up to this point. He's got the Miracle Run right after The Sixth Sense. And then he goes through a real low point with 4 movies. And then he kind of comes back a little bit with this little movie called The Visit, which generally has some pretty good reviews. And it's a pretty fun little movie. And I think since The Visit,
covering it.
I had a very good time covering it, talking about that legend Nana. But I think basically since The Visit, he's been on a little bit of a hot streak again. So we're working our way through the last 3 movies here with Split, Glass, and then we'll finish off with Old before rolling into our next director.
Yeah, Split came out in 2016. Like I said, generally well received. Certified fresh, 77% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, 79% from the audience. So everyone likes it. Before we dive into Split, though, do you want to talk about a little movie that you've seen lately?
I would love to. We haven't done this in so long. I have literally dozens of movies I could talk about.
Same here.
Dozens. But I'm gonna do the right thing here. I'm gonna be a good man, because I would say I don't remember what episode I did this on, but very early on in the history of this podcast, we covered a movie, and my little movie that I brought to the table was John Chu's In the Heights, and I was pretty rude to Lin-Manuel Miranda and his talent, I guess. I was not a fan of In the Heights, specifically because of the stylings of Lin-Manuel Miranda, we'll say.
I think it also hurt you a little more because the episode prior, I think you were very excited about it also.
I think, yes, because that was like one of the first movies I was going back to the movies to see. And I was like, oh, this big fun musical. It's going to be cinematic. And I went and I was just the whole time I was just rolling my eyes. I was like, this guy's corny as hell. And like, wasn't a huge fan. So what I want to do now is I want to touch on 2 little things. Mostly we're going to talk about one movie, but I'm going to highlight another one because as much as I didn't like In the Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda just recently dropped his directorial debut, Tick, Tick, Boom, starring Andrew Garfield.
Oh, okay.
And I threw it on, was just kind of like, I love Andrew Garfield. I guess I'll give it a shot, even though I don't like Lin.
Incredible.
I think it was a great movie. I liked it a lot.
Uh-oh.
I think it's
hopping on the Lin train?
No, not quite, but I'm definitely like feeling good about him now because
okay.
Tick, Tick, Boom, it's not like it's not like this masterpiece or anything like that.
Sure.
It's a little messy. It's not the best looking movie. And, some of that stuff you could definitely chalk up to like, this is obviously his first movie. He's never made a movie before. There's a lot of clear signs of that. But I will say this, the musical portions of the movie are clearly like made with a lot of love, and they're like fun as hell. Like In the Heights, I think is a really well-made movie. I just don't like the music. Okay. And I think In the Heights is a little formulaic, where it's just like a direct adaptation, from the stage to the screen. It's like, okay, yeah, sure. But with Tick, Tick, Boom, it's very inventive. It's a little bit meta. And I was really charmed by the whole thing. And Andrew Garfield is just like, the guy he doesn't.
He's a superstar.
He's a fucking superstar. And I love him so much.
He's a top tier talent.
Absolutely.
I think he has been for a while.
I think you and I have been on that train for a long time. And
Well, ever since Silence, that's when I
mean,
was. Well,
yeah,
Hacksaw Ridge, I was like, he was incredible there, and then I saw Silence, and I was like, just
Jesus,
blown
yes,
away.
same way, yes, because I'm like, I've always loved him, and then Silence comes out, and I'm like, holy hell, like,
Yeah, dude's
but
got
yeah,
chops.
he really does. So Tick Tick Boom, I really enjoyed, and then also I'm just gonna hop on just a little bit more praise for Lynn because I was very rude to him. I went and also saw Disney's new animated film, Encanto. Yeah, and the movie was very charming. I really liked all the world building in it, and Lynn wrote all the music for that movie, and it wasn't annoying music. And I think he's very good at writing Disney music because he did Moana's music as well.
He did.
I just think maybe I don't like his stage musicals. Maybe that's the thing. I'm trying to zero in on what rubbed me. And I just his energy is a little bit much for me. But all that being said, his work on Tick Tick Boom and Encanto are fucking. It's great. It's fun stuff.
Yeah, I think the first time I actually, this is back when Hamilton came out, and I did enjoy Hamilton. I thought it was,
I still haven't gotten there. Yeah.
Well,
I haven't seen it yet. That's all.
Yeah, it's stage play and whatnot, but he does excel musically. I think, like I said, the first time I ever was introduced to him was when he played like a little bit character on House. And he was
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he was like rapping, and he was just.
God, is he really? I was just about to make a joke about like, did he like burst into the hospital rapping a freestyle about like how rude House is or something like that?
I mean, essentially, yeah.
Basically,
he was a patient in a sane asylum that was a rapper. So,
that's kind of cool, actually.
No, it was cool because House was. Well, let's not get on the House train, but he's. I think he's good. I think he's only getting better.
We'll see. I thought Tick Tick Boom was really fun, and like I said, it's not a direct adaptation. It is very like meta in the way it like approaches the storytelling and in a very fun way.
Sure,
great movie.
Well, cool. Tick Tick Boom. I'll check it out.
Netflix. Go check it out. Yeah, you should check it out. You'd love it. It's Andrew Garfield. Go ahead. What's the movie you're bringing today?
Well, seeing how this was split. I was kind of still in that horror mindset. I've mentioned this movie a couple times. I just really want to double down, just to send home how much I love this movie. Because I'm pretty sure one of our earlier episodes I did mention it, but it's filmed in Detroit and it's called It Follows.
Oh yeah, It Follows is cool.
You saw it?
Yeah, It Follows is really cool.
You know me, how I like to. Well, first up, this movie is 100% about tone and atmosphere.
It's basically all it's got going for it in a good way. Like it's like, what if the whole movie were just vibes and like atmosphere, and it just kind of owns that.
It nails it. Well, you know me, how I like to kind of stack myself up against like the conflict or the enemy or the villain, whether like, can I take it or whatnot?
Well, you're a fuck boy. You would be screwed.
I'm done here. I'm not going to go my whole life trying to outpace this thing that will never stop. And it's just that alone just freaks me out. You get a pretty cool shot where it's just you see it behind him walking again.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, love it.
I like It Follows. I don't think that movie totally knows what it's doing. Like I feel like sometimes it's just sort of like, I don't know, we've got like an idea of what this is supposed to be about, and like it doesn't always nail it, but I think what makes up for it is like the vibes of that movie is it's just great.
Smash that like
it's
button.
Great.
Yeah, that's huge.
And I think the soundtrack to that movie is so criminally underrated. It's freaky. So good. It's such a good
there's
soundtrack.
Just something about an ever pursuing, slow walking, like I know it's coming, and I at some point I'm gonna lay down, and I can't do it.
I do love watching It Follows and being like, that is so clearly a Michigan suburb. I love it. Like just looking right at it and be like, oh, I could tell that that's a Michigan suburb.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of things
it's fun.
I do want to throw out just another one because there's been a lot of movies that I've seen since.
A lot of movies.
And sticking with that horror theme, I did see Halloween Kills.
Okay, quick thoughts on Halloween Kills. Go.
Well, you can tell the first one was made kind of the next two, which Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. You can tell were made off the success of the first one because the story does feel like. There's a whole subplot about them chasing a different Michael Myers and whatnot. Here's what I'm going to say about it, because there's a few things that don't work, but there are, if you're a slasher fan, this is Michael Myers untethered. This is by far his biggest body count, by far his gnarliest kills. Just, they let him go this time. Like, it's almost like they were like, no, we want Michael to kind of catch Jason in the kill count department, because
No, they got to send him in outer space.
no, we're not doing
Halloween
Jason
Ends
X.
is going to be Halloween Ends is them launching Michael Myers into outer space, and he crashes into the ISS and kills everyone aboard.
Oh God, no!
Be fucking sweet.
Jamie Lee Curtis is excellent as usual. Anthony Michael Hall or Michael's not it's Anthony Michael Hall.
I get them confused all the time. I get them all the time. Exactly what you're talking about.
They did. There was a nice little thing where they brought back a couple of the original characters that were kids as grown-ups, so that was kind of cool. But a lot of it, of course, story-wise, like I said, you're going for the kills, and if you went for the kills, you're very happy. There, I will say that there, right at the end, there's a little bit of lore building for Michael.
And I have to cut you off because A, you've already brought a movie, and B, I fucking don't give a shit. Let's talk about Split.
No, it's not like his history. It's not like
I fucking hate lore building on these fucking movies. Like, I don't care.
No. Who's the ones that made the Hellbilly ones? The Devil Rejects. The Devil
Rob
Rejects.
Zombie.
Yeah, when those two Halloween movies were notoriously trash because you spend an hour with Michael as a child. You throw that
don't care. Don't want to know anything about it.
And then the second one's all about his ghost mother. It's just those are nonsense. This is just a tiny, like, one line of lore building, and it's not spoiling anything, but the more he kills, the stronger he gets.
Get it out of here. Get it out. I don't need any of this.
I mean, it's not factual or anything, but I'm down bullshit with it.
I just the first movie is good. It's great. It's a good movie. I don't need shit after that. Like, I hate fucking everything right now. I'm just very bitter about, like, every time I go online, they're like, oh, HBO has greenlit a Penguin spinoff movie from the Batman. I'm like, why does everything have to be a spinoff and a lore building extra? Just make a movie.
Yeah, I did see that, and I was like, why is Colin Farrell doing that? But
come on, Colin.
Yeah, whatever. If that's what he wants to do with his time.
Yeah,
at a certain point, you have to justify how Michael keeps getting back up, and that's that one line that does it. And
you know what? You don't, because they made one perfect movie. They should have never made any more.
No,
because I think the mystery is ruined when you make a whole fucking slew of movies, and it's like, isn't this just a guy?
Well, I told you before, he is supernatural. Like, all these killers, they're all supernatural.
No, disagree. That first movie does not imply that he is supernatural. Just implies that he's a fucking a specter
Dr.
of death.
Loomis states
we're not getting into this. Let's talk about Split.
he had the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. But all right, Split. Let's talk about Split.
I've never seen a case like this before. 23 identities live in Kevin's body. Who are you?
Help me get out of here, Hedwig.
You trying to trick me? I'll tell on you.
Aren't you the clever one?
An individual with multiple personalities can change their body chemistry with their thoughts.
Someone's coming for you.
Who's coming?
The beast.
There's a man here. He abducted us and he's going to kill me. We're meant for something. Something horrible.
The world will understand now. The beast is real. He's done awful things to people, and he'll do awful things to you.
Let's talk about Split. And I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, James McAvoy, Anya Taylor-Joy. We got Betty Buckley, Lou Richardson.
Love her. Betty Buckley coming back.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with Betty Buckley. Let's just get her.
Why do you want to start with Betty Buckley? Why don't we start with?
Because she's one of the side characters, and she doesn't have the biggest arc. She just plays James McAvoy's shrink in the movie. Yeah. The film is about a character that has, I believe, it's 24 different.
Yeah, it's like 23 or 24, something like that.
Well, the 24th is
the beast. 666 Hail Satan.
Which for any actor, you're looking at it insane. I got to play 24 characters.
That's the whole thing of this movie. Is it's like if you're an actor, this is a treat. This is like a chance for you. This is literally like a resume for James McAvoy going forward, right? Like after this,
he doesn't play all 24. He plays, but I think it's 8.
He plays quite a few in this movie.
It's 8 or 9. And
let's see off the top of my head if I can name them. Dennis, Kevin Wendell Crumb.
Okay. Yeah.
You got the little boy. I can't remember his fucking name, but
that's that's the only one I really remember.
I like him. You got the woman. I don't remember. He plays the woman with the sweater.
Oh, Patricia
Hedwig. Thank you. Yeah, Patricia Hedwig. Barry. He's the fashion designer. That's 5.
Sure.
Is that it? And then you get like a little montage at the end where he like gets to like play around.
Yeah, where he's like a little webcam.
Yeah, that's fun. Okay, so Split. Let's talk about Betty Buckley, the villain of the movie.
The villain of the movie.
I'm coming out swinging.
This
today.
Is a hot take real fast.
I'm coming out fucking swinging. Okay, Betty Buckley. Her character. I don't want to say that Betty Buckley is a villain. She's a sweet lady. But her character's a monster. She has a severely like mentally just like tortured person that she's dealing with. Clearly, she has full access to this person, and her whole thing is like, oh no, they're supposed to be the gods of the universe, and we have to unlock their potential. No. Don't unlock their potential. You need to lock up their potential. You need to fix this person. He is unfit for society, and you are responsible for that.
I mean,
she let this happen.
Yeah, she did let it happen. She didn't really tell anyone about it because wasn't she trying to get a research paper published?
Yeah,
or whatnot.
She keeps giving speeches about like
it's all about the cheddar at the end of the day.
It is all about the cheddar Chang, as you said. Yeah. I will say, like, I get where she's coming from, and she's raising some very interesting. Okay, I guess we should. Let me just say this first. Let me just say this first.
Okay,
about Split. It has its foot right next to the line of being a little problematic in its depiction of mental illness, because this is a real mental illness, the dissociative identity disorder, where you have all these, this is a real like thing that people suffer with, and this movie definitely treats it like it's a superpower.
It's definitely Hollywoodized.
It's very Hollywood, but I think the thing that saves it is it's so fucking Hollywoodized. It's not like this movie is at no point trying to convince you like this is a serious social issues drama. You should take it. Like it is clearly a comic book movie. So I'm like, okay, I'm fine with all this. It's just like it's nudging up to a point.
Well, I mean, like we've talked about in almost every M. Night movie, I feel like he does he takes like real world like illnesses and exaggerates them to the extent where it's like,
right,
yeah, that's not quite how it should be, like,
right.
And he does that here too when he gets into like the next plane of existence or like
exactly, yeah, all that shit.
And it's like, come on, M. Night. Oh, here we go. It's like I'm enjoying this ride, and that happens kind of like, I don't know, like 40 minutes in, and it's like
something like that, yeah.
Like, here we go. He's about to M. Night it up.
But you know what? We'll get to this. I'll save this for the end. But I think he totally saves himself. But we'll get to all that. So Betty Buckley is the therapist. I've already kind of like that's my whole take on her is that she like is fully responsible for everything that happens in this movie and the following movie.
Yeah, I mean, just to like kind of round off her character. There was a couple things that when we get to the plot, like I'll say like, oh well, why didn't you call someone?
Something.
Like you're not a soldier, you're an old lady. Why don't this guy has potentially dangerous tendencies?
Why are you going there?
Yeah, and that was a little frustrating.
But whatever.
You needed that for plot, but
yeah. But the movie is about James McAvoy. So let's talk about James, because this is, I think, our first McAvoy joint, right?
I think it is.
So I'm gonna let you go ahead and take the stage because I think you're a pretty big McAvoy fan.
I love James McAvoy.
Yeah.
Let me hop on my soapbox.
He's
excellent. I don't think I've seen him in a role that I haven't liked yet. And I think that's, I'm not saying he's blown my socks off or anything, but he's steadily, consistently good to great. I would kind of lean more towards great for me because I just think he's talented. And when he, dating back to Atonement, when he does, when he has a role that, is underwhelming, I'll be the first to say it, but I haven't seen, I loved him as Professor X.
Wait, did you not like him in Atonement?
No, I liked,
okay.
Yeah.
I was like very concerned.
Oh no, I love everything about Atonement.
Yes. So good. I think I agree with pretty much everything you just said. But here's the thing about James for me, about old Jimmy Mack. He is always good. I don't think I can really remember a movie I've seen him in where he's like, I've been like, he's a detriment, or like, oh, he's miscast or anything. I've always liked him, but there's something missing that doesn't, like, there's a reason he's not an A-list star, and I don't know what that is. He constantly comes out and puts out good work, but he's just missing like that little extra something that makes you a fucking superstar.
Well, I think you're just waiting for once
I'm not waiting for anything because I like him.
There's going to be a breakout role where it's going to,
okay. Well, and we've talked about this again with Hugh Jackman. It's been a couple decades, like, and I'm not. This is I don't like Hugh Jackman. I do like James McAvoy. So like, I'm not saying anything bad about James McAvoy because I
like them both. Greatest Showman, baby. But I digress.
He wishes he was the Greatest Showman. But I just think McAvoy, like, I've loved him since like the Chronicles of Narnia. I think he fucking rules in that movie. Atonement, we've said
that's where he's the little goat guy, right?
That's correct, Mr. Tumnus.
Okay.
He's very good in that movie. He totally sells everything in that movie. It's great.
See, I think I forgot everyone except for Tilda Swinton because she's a goddess in that movie.
She's Tilda Swinton, so yeah, that's understandable. But yeah, I've always liked him, but like I said, I don't think he's ever given like that A-list, like, pow, here I am, take me seriously movie star performance. And Split, as much as it is sort of a showcase, even that doesn't feel ever like I'm like, oh, this fucking guy. I'm always just like, this is fun, he's having a good time, I like this. Well, see, I don't feel like he's
one of my notes here. James McAvoy is brilliant. So
I agree, but there's just something missing. I don't know what it is.
Oh man.
He's never going to be, I mean, we don't have movie stars anymore, but he's never going to be like, I think in my, like, my top 10 or anything like that. I just always like him.
See, I might agree with that because, it maybe top 15, like it gets free. He's on the fringe. He's always been a cusp guy. You know what I'm saying? But
oh, I see.
Yeah.
I do like him though. Nothing against him. I think he's good in this movie. Yeah. He plays.
When you say good, I wrote brilliant. So
I don't think he's brilliant because I think the only thing that's holding him back from being like brilliant, I think, is the movie itself, which is still a little schlocky and like kind of corny. You know what I mean? Which
I was going to say goofy. Yeah,
it's a goofy movie. Yeah.
Well, when he has to play Hedwig, I mean, obviously,
I'm fucking. The thing is, I think I like him best if he's playing Hedwig.
Oh, really? Wow.
I think he's got he has two moments in this movie that I think are kind of brilliant that aren't super showy, that are like way more reserved, like moments of acting that I think are that he nails. But I do love him as Hedwig. That scene where he's fucking dancing is great.
Oh, see the scene when he's trying to show the window.
Yes, that whole sequence.
Oh,
yeah. And then he dances for.
Yeah, let's move on to who he's dancing for, which is, I think, at this point,
Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, I mean,
now this is a superstar.
Right underneath my last note, I wrote Anya is a star.
She's a superstar.
Yeah,
I actually like. There it is. I'll come full circle here. I think James McAvoy is a more talented, nuanced actor than Anya Taylor-Joy. But I think she just has that radiant, like, superstar persona where she is a great actress, but she doesn't even need to be. She shows up and you're like, well, I need to fucking watch her. Look at her. She looks like a fucking alien goddess, like sent from the stars to save us.
I think, that's one of those things that, she's got that look where everyone's kind of fascinated by it. I think she's gorgeous and whatnot, but she does have the alien. Is it the eyes? Like, are they a little spread apart?
She's got the weird eyes, but she's also a model and like she's very exotic looking and like, but she's also a great actress. Like I think we've you and me have talked extensively about The Witch,
the Witch,
and like in that movie, it's just like she's so young and just she's selling every moment so well.
Yeah, that's a movie that really
whole movie up.
Well, I think that might be like her first movie or something. But I was like, I was blown away by her, but I was also at the same time blown away by the whole movie.
Yes, of course.
And then, of course, Queen's Gambit, she was excellent in. I recently saw Last Night in Soho. She was excellent in. She just has it.
I didn't like Last Night in Soho very much, and I felt like her character was like totally like she barely was a character. She like was sort of just like a hot object for us to look at, and even still, I was like, she's still fucking captivating. Like Her character didn't have a lot of character to it, but she's still like, you just want to watch her. She's incredible. Like, even when she's like dancing and shit, and I'm like, this is like, she's like a fucking, she's like Audrey Hepburn, like, where you just are like, you could see in like 20 or 25 years, like college girls are going to have like posters of fucking Anya Taylor-Joy up on their walls.
When you say college girls, you mean me. So
yeah.
No, she's a star.
Yeah.
I was, right off the bat, you're seeing that with, I think one of the opening scenes. This I gotta say, right off the bat, this movie moves kind of at a breakneck pace.
It does throw you right into it. Does it open with the like a flashback, or does it just start?
Right off the bat, you're introduced to, like, it's the girl's birthday party, and she's kind of sitting by herself, a little weird or whatnot, and and then the next scene, the abduction happens. A very creepy abduction. Like, M. Night, we've talked about at length about how his opening scenes are great at telling and showing a lot with
He's
not
really good at just like grabbing you by the lapels and being like, here we go.
This one was a little different for me because of how fast it was moving. I didn't think, like, you weren't really seeing what these characters were before it happened. So you're not really seeing the growth, because it's moving at such a fast pace.
It basically throws you immediately into like the situation.
Right. I mean, you do see him fight back a little bit throughout the movie, but whatever. You would expect almost anyone to fight back. So yeah. And then, oh man, I love that abduction scene.
It's really chilling. Like the way he just appears in the car and the girls take a while to notice, but Anya notices immediately. And it's just the way it all plays out. It doesn't even, I'm going to say it actually doesn't really make sense, because of like, they take forever to notice. She freezes, but they take forever to notice, which is, that's scary. Like, that's a really good like use of just like, that doesn't really make sense. They would notice right away, but I love that they
shot
don't.
Where she sees the groceries on the ground behind the car. That's all great. I was frustrated that she froze. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
I mean, we learn later, like, probably why she froze up like that, because she's like a horrible abuse victim, which we'll get to. But like, I like the way that all plays out. I also like that he doesn't seem to notice her until she opens the door, which again doesn't make sense because he's sitting right next to her. But I was talking to my girlfriend Jessica, and I watched this. I was talking to her about like this scene, because she's like, that doesn't make any sense. Why did he not notice her? And
that whole exchange, like her
trying to rationalize it,
and him also kind of like, it's a little frustrating, but whatever. It made for a tense.
I want to talk about it because I think that there's something here. So I don't know, spoiler alerts for the movie Split. We learn later in the movie that essentially McAvoy's character, his whole sort of philosophy is that like people who have not felt pain are like unclean. They don't understand like the realities of the world, and they are not pure. But if you have like been through like terrible trauma, then you have like seen the real world. You're one of the pure ones. You're one of the strong ones, whatever. Right. And they at some point in the movie allude to the fact that he like scoped these two girls out. He was like planning on like kidnapping Haley Lou Richardson because he saw that she was sort of like a spoiled, privileged teen who hasn't gone through anything. So my only, and this is like very like, I don't know, like metaphorical, I guess, but like the only reason I can think of for him not seeing Anya Taylor-Joy is that he literally wasn't like keyed into her essence. You know what I mean? Like where he gets in the car and he's like, I'm here to kidnap these two brats and to like make them suffer. And that is my mission. And I am essentially the Terminator in this mission. Like I just go. And he was not even programmed to, because like he knows like throughout the movie, he kind of like starts to pick up and like he sees that Anya Taylor-Joy has been damaged. So he kind of knows he's not even going after her. She's not a priority. So that was just me trying to like in my head justify it. Whether or not that was intentional is beyond me. But
yeah, I just thought M. Night was doing that for just a kind of like a hero antagonist showdown.
Correct. Yes,
like
that's
little
probably all it was.
Introductory.
Like, I went into like overdrive, being like, "Oh, what's he trying to say here?"
Sure,
like,
you went a deep dive on the thematical,
right? Yeah, which there probably isn't any, but whatever. I put it there.
I mean, I like it. I bet M. Night would like it too if he heard you take. So,
well, I'd love to talk to him, and I'd love to hang out with him. He seems like a real cool guy. M. Night, come on the podcast. We love you.
Yeah. So pretty much right after that, you're starting. What's the first character you meet is
Dennis. Dennis is the one who actually kidnaps them, and he's the one who comes in and like takes the first girl. I can't remember her name. Not Haley Lou Richardson, but what's her fucking name? Here we go. Jessica Sula. She's the other girl.
Okay.
And like this is immediately you get introduced to Casey is Anya Taylor-Joy's name in the movie. Casey like grabs her by the face before he takes her out the room and is like, pee on yourself. So you immediately get thrown into like, oh, this girl like knows how to deal with men who are abusing her. She immediately knew the answer to fucking like thwarting him.
Instant fighter right off the bat. I do like when you're kind of getting not introduced. Like I said, there's really no introduction. You're kind of thrown into it. But all three of the girls kind of have their own viewpoint. They all want to do something different. With Anya Taylor-Joy being the fighter.
Well, Anya Taylor-Joy is like, I didn't read that at all. I thought she was like the one who was like passively waiting. The other two were like, we should beat the shit out of him. And she's like, he will fucking pick you up and throw you through a wall. Like you're not going to fight him.
No, when I say fighter, I mean like mentally being strong about it.
Oh, like she's just, she's going to get through it.
Yeah, because she's been through it before. Whereas, the other two want to try to beat him up and whatnot. But yeah, that's kind of where I was going with the fighter. But right after that, like we talked about before, it's we're introduced to Hedwig. I thought Hedwig was extremely creepy.
Yeah, Hedwig rules. Hedwig's my boy. I love Hedwig. He's funny.
He is funny.
I mean, I think M. Night, starting with The Visit, like after his weird failure run, starting with The Visit, I think M. Night scaled back. We already talked about like he scaled back in budget, he scaled back in scope and all this stuff. But I also think in a really weird way, he scaled back in the way he writes his characters, where they're way more simple. And the dialogue is way more like obvious. Which we'll talk about in our old episode, but like it's almost wooden the way his characters speak in like these like obvious ways, but like and not
I almost prefer. No, I almost prefer it because
I really like
a lot of like the happening. Sometimes he'll overdo the script, and it's like they wouldn't say like that's so nothing. Out of place there.
But I think he nails it with Hedwig, where like all the goofy shit he says, but he nails etc. Where the kid always says etc. Like, which obviously like is such a I'm 10 years older than my brother, so like I was a grown adult when they were like Hedwig's age. Yeah, and kids do this shit. They'll grab onto a word that they think is like new and fun, and they'll just beat it into the ground, etc.
Once again, M. Night's having another kid actor in the movie. So he
James McAvoy.
Yeah. Every M. Night movie,
a great like child performance from grown man James McAvoy.
I'm telling you, M. Night likes writing for kids.
He does have a kid performance in the movie, though, the young version of Casey. But yeah, I mean, it's basically they get abducted by this fucking guy, and then he starts showing up with all these different personalities. He shows up as Hedwig. For a minute they think there's a woman there, and then he walks in the door and he's wearing like the like dress or whatever.
The turtleneck.
It's really creepy. The turtleneck, yes.
Yeah, with the pearl necklace.
It's really creepy because they
enters the room and she's chilling, she's calm, she's cool, very classy.
Yeah. Yes. I think he nails like the fear when they first see Patricia. It's like they're all like, oh, there's a woman on the other side. There's a woman. And then you hear Patricia walk towards the door, and then he cuts to the girl's reaction shot of seeing Patricia, but you don't get to see Patricia at first. And they all look like petrified. Like none of them are showing a ton of fear. They look so confused and like confounded by like, what am I looking at? And then it cuts back and it's McAvoy in the little turtleneck. And you're like, oh fuck, this guy's completely gone.
Well, right before you even get to see Patricia, I think it's just a minor callback to Psycho, because you hear two different people talking, and it's Patricia.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, I love that. Love it. Yeah. Just a little shout out. Is this kind of the first escape attempt? I forget which girl it is, but they're like, she's smart, and then as she's trying to escape, she hides in a locker, and I just wanted to bash my head into.
Yeah. There's a couple of escape attempts, and none of them go well. Yeah, one of them tries to like run. Like it's the one where she hits Patricia over the head with the chair and like runs into the locker, and then Dennis finds her.
Which there's things I like about that, because with that first escape attempt, you see the layout of the
awesome
entire
set. Awesome,
and,
like claustrophobic little set.
That's another device I'm not used to show. Okay, this is where this movie's taking place in this underground. And I love all that.
Okay, so I've talked about my relationship with M. Night Shyamalan like through my dad, who is from New Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia. So he has like this sort of bond with M. Night, because M. Night always sets his movies in Philly. So recently, me and my dad sat down to watch this movie a couple of years ago, and I went to visit him, and he had never seen Split. And when I put it on, this sort of sequence starts happening where you're like underground in this area. And my dad goes, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised because he's from the area. He goes, what is this, the Philly Zoo? He immediately recognized all of this underground, like weird shit. And like just from the surrounding areas, he was just like, what's this, the Philadelphia Zoo? I'm like, yes, Dad.
Before any reveal of
like before anything, had
you don't even realize it's a zoo until like near the end of the movie.
He recognized literally like the surrounding area as the area of the Philadelphia Zoo, and I'm like, that's fucking impressive.
Oh wow,
he called that shit immediately. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. He recognized the underground caverns.
I guess so. I don't know. What's my dad do? Oh, you know what? My dad's fucking. He does like public service shit, so he might have gone down there.
Oh yeah, he's been down
heaters and absolutely. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, what a dumb. How did I not put that together?
We mentioned the trauma that both the leads kind of went through. In that sense, they kind of were mirrors of each other in a way because they both experienced that trauma. That's kind of what I got from that.
This is the part of the movie I don't like. I just think M. Night is not. Maybe he's just not the best director to be commenting on like sexual abuse.
Well, so, with the Village, you know, is he the best to be talking about like mental disability either? Like,
no, exactly.
He does this, like,
yes, and I don't think he totally flubs it in this movie. But this movie, I mean, just to like round everything out, like throughout the movie, you're getting all these flashbacks of Casey when she was a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
And you find out like, okay, her dad.
The first flashback is super cute because it's just
the first couple are really cute. Yeah.
Well,
it takes a minute before things to go wrong, I think.
I got bad vibes on
pretty much right away. Yeah.
No, the first one was super nice. And I liked it a lot.
The flashbacks are like, they're mostly like, it's a hunting trip. It's her dad, and her uncle. Over the course of the hunting trip, you kind of come to learn that her uncle is sort of sexually abusing her. And then later in the movie, you find out that the dad died when she was really young, and the uncle is now her guardian. So you're like, fuck. Like, I think that this movie is just, it's really, really cruel to the main character. The more you learn about her, the more you're like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. Like,
well, yeah, she's thrown in that horrendous situation, and then fast forward 18 years.
Now she's being abducted by a, psycho
for 18 years, pretty much, I would guess, or for however long.
And she's got scars all over her body, obviously, like defensive wounds and shit from her uncle attacking her. So it's just, I think the movie's just a little bit too fickle with like, it just throws out like, oh yeah, she's just been, horribly, horribly abused by her uncle for the past, however long.
I think part of it is because, the end, he wanted to put a bow on the end, give her a nice ending where it's
and I don't really
taking
understand
a stand.
It. Oh, I like that where she finally says like, no, I don't want to go home to my uncle or whatever.
Right.
I guess we're just fast tracking, but like the whole end where he is like, you are one of the pure ones. And I'm like, what is M. Night trying to say with this fucking movie? Is he trying to say that like the only way to be a good person is if you've been through like horrible, horrible trauma? Like, or is he not trying to say anything?
Yeah,
like,
he's trying to connect the dots here because
just, I don't know. There's some stuff in this movie that really bumps for me where I'm like, this makes me like a little uncomfortable.
Well, I like I said, that's kind of where I got from that because, the whole time his goal was to try to make them not opposites, but on the same side. Like they both, their only commonality was the trauma they went through.
Right.
And however he connected those dots,
but
maybe
here's
it was a little sloppily.
It's only connected through trauma in that they both experienced some form of trauma, but their trauma is so different. Like, McAvoy's character had like, I'm guessing a physically and verbally abusive mother. And then he was like shattered when his dad died. And he doesn't understand why his dad never came back. Like, that's sort of like his whole thing. But like, I don't know, when you turn the camera around and you got Anya Taylor-Joy standing there covered in scars and like, just like decades or 1.5 decades of like sexual trauma is just heaped upon her. You're kind of like, oh, yeah, she's kind of got it worse. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel weird.
Whenever you get into the territory of whose abuse is worse.
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying like, one of them has a very cinematic backstory, a very tragic comic booky, if you will, backstory. And that's McAvoy's character. The other one has just an incredibly uncomfortable, like real life thing that happens all the time. And it's like, you're meshing two things that maybe don't mesh that well.
No,
and,
I
like,
get that.
I get that. Yeah. And I'm not like, It doesn't ruin the movie for me. It's just it bumps a little bit.
It bumps.
Yeah, that's all. It bumps. I'm like, oh, ow, ooh, that's a little bumpy. I don't know.
One thing that bummed me out. So kind of it's rough segue to go from all that real abuse subplot, but back to kind of the comic booky supernatural stuff.
Yeah, whoa, yay, fun.
I was a little underwhelmed by the reveal of the Beast.
I think I agree with you.
This is why, because like even on the poster, like, you know, there's the 24th one is the Beast, you know, and then there's like the shadow of this monstrosity that is, you know, being drawn in all the pictures leading up to it.
Yep.
And then when you get him, it's just kind of like a buff, veiny McAvoy.
I think, yeah, no, I agree. Well, I mean, I didn't. How did I get into this? I did not expect him to grow like spikes and fangs and like turn into a like I didn't expect him to turn into a werewolf at all. I didn't expect that at all. And then when you get him, I think McAvoy's really good at selling the creepiness of what you're seeing. Like the money shot for me is the scene of him crawling up the wall. I think that's such a like unnerving. You're like, that almost looks goofy how he's doing that, and it's like, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, because do his nails grow or anything? Like, I don't.
Well, I don't even remember.
That's what I'm saying.
They explain it in the movie. Have you not seen the film Free Solo about the free solo climber?
Okay, no, I haven't seen it.
All right,
I kind of get where you're going at.
In the movie Free Solo, you get real crazy glimpses of how these solo climbers can like literally put all of their body weight on two fingers holding onto a tiny little crease that's no more than like a centimeter wide, and it's just like he's obviously crawling up of all like this kind of like jaggedy looking wall the same way a free solo climber would. Absolutely. So I'm glad you're having that reaction, because I had the same reaction the first time I saw this movie in theaters, where I'm like, I mean, I like this movie, but like this isn't great, you know. This is a little much. It's weirdly like a little bit too much and then like not enough.
Yeah, I guess I just kind of expected a little more animalistic, you know.
Yes.
If anything, yeah, he just looked like a veiny buff McAvoy, and I don't care if his strength increased or whatnot. You can't really. I was looking more for a visual satisfaction.
I totally get that.
You know the word I was looking for. Another little beef I had. Now we're about halfway through the movie, and
well, I guess we haven't really talked about any like the scary scenes where he's like attacking them and shit, and like you learn a little bit about each character, where like Dennis is obviously a pedophile, but like a closeted pedophile who like knows he's not supposed to be a pedophile. That's also a little bit much for me, where I'm like, what's going on here? Where like he says that he likes to watch little girls dance in their underwear, and you're like,
yeah, that's a little much there.
Yeah. But yeah, you're learning all these little things about all the characters, and Hedwig does his cool dance.
Love that scene. That's probably a standout scene for me, when she tries to trick Hedwig into showing him the window, or showing her the window, and then you find out it's just a drawing of a window.
That's great. I also love when she tricks him into kissing her to like win his trust, and he kisses her, and then he says, "I think you're pregnant." Great, funny, like dumb kid logic. Yeah, but we can kind of fast forward through all that, because it's the thing about this movie is, and like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like a lot of the tension is sort of inconsequential. Like I never feel super scared for them until it goes really wrong at the end.
Yeah, that's kind of where once you know, at some point about halfway through, Betty Buckley realizes that it's the wrong personality visiting because of the OCD. I like all that.
Oh, that's that was the moment I wanted to shout out, where I think McAvoy fucking kills that moment where he's acting like Barry, who's the fashion designer, and she keeps going like, "Oh, but I think this is Dennis I'm talking to. Is this Dennis? Are you Dennis?" And then he makes that sudden shift where like you get to see it happen all on camera, where he like is being kind of the lackadaisical fun Barry, and then she calls him out, and he stiffens up and like straightens his neck out, and his face drops a little bit. He nails it. It's so subtle, and
I think that's when I wrote that he was brilliant, because that's
the moment I love him.
Yeah,
it's fun to see him act like Patricia and Hedwig, and he's being all big, and he's switching between all these. That's all fun, but that little moment of him like slowly and very quietly switching between two is like, that's good shit.
Yeah, anytime you get like a kind of a split personality, the actor really gets to just show off.
They get to just ham it up.
So that was sweet. But yeah, that little thing where he's pretending he has OCD, where he's fixing the different things. He's
no, he does. No, he does have OCD. He's pretending to be Barry and trying not to act like he has OCD.
Trying not. Okay.
Yeah. Where he walks through the trash, and M. Night Shyamalan's like, "What kind of monster would walk through the trash? I'm M. Night. Hey guys." And I'm like, "All right, hey bud, good to see you." I guess he just shows up and he's like, "I work at Hooters," or whatever the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, just another.
I do. Oh no, he eats at Hooters. I just like where he's like, "It's a nice place."
Did he get paid by Hooters?
I don't know.
It's got a little plug there, but
yeah, probably.
Yeah. So at some point, Betty Buckley realizes that there's a problem because she keeps getting emails throughout the night. Like one of his personalities is trying to warn her and like reach out for help, and the other ones are kind of just trying to muffle that voice and pretend like it's
Seems
not
like
happening.
half of the personalities have good intentions, and the other half are like plotting to bring forth the beast, which is this entity that we don't really know much about, and we're starting to like slowly learn, like, ooh, what's the beast? He's not come yet. Who's the beast?
Yeah,
I still don't fully understand who the beast is, but whatever, that's fine, I guess.
I don't know either. I thought it was going to be an animalistic beast, and it turned out just to be
big boy.
Yep, big boy. So Betty Buckley, she goes over to investigate. She's walking through. She finds a lot of wrongdoings, right? She's finding she goes into his room, his study, and she's seeing, what does she see? The documentation of his deeds,
something like that. She finds the girls. She
does find the girls. They try to get her to help her. Oh, she does let them out because one of them does start running, but he puts them in separate rooms.
Yeah, he puts them in separate rooms, and then like he crushes Betty Buckley in a scene that I really like.
Yeah, well, because Betty Buckley shines here. She's pleading with him, like, no, and it's a nice slow crunch, and he's slowly wrapping his arms around her.
Yep, and M. Night like does this really good close up of his two forearms sort of interlacing and slowly crushing her, and then you see her try to stab him with the scalpel, and then she lifts the scalpel up and it's broken. So you're like, okay, so he's in beast mode, so that means he can't be hurt. I'm getting all this. Like, I like all that.
Sure, like his forearm, for McAvoy's credit, he gets jacked in this movie. So he
is pretty yoked, yeah.
So when he's like really squeezing, you see his arms just like swell up, and and then Betty Buckley does an excellent death scene, just
really good death scene, really
nails it. I will say I didn't like there's a very long setup for all this happening, and the payoff is it's when you see the other girl in the room dead. When Anya Taylor-Joy is making her final girl run, the iconic final girl, she's seeing all the bodies and whatnot. It's a very long setup, and it's semi-shocking to see the one girl dead in the room, but it's a brutal death. I agree.
It's kind of
I was on a slasher kick there, and I was just like, that's a brutal death. But it was
not yet.
You see the door slightly creaked, and it's just it's whatever. But
it's like he's sort of borrowing from the slasher sort of mold, but he's not really going full force into it, which I think might account for some of that shit being a little underwhelming. But I think the one scene that's really great is when Anya Taylor-Joy sees like Haley Lou Richardson, and then she's on the ground, and you see Haley Lou Richardson getting like pulled back, like fucking Jaws got her or something like that. It's like a really sudden jump scare. I think that's fun. And then I think the beast is like eating her tummy or something.
That's the one I think I wanted to see a little more.
You're like, I want to see him eat some tummy.
Because this whole movie's predicated on the fact that this is an animal, like not an animal, but evil beast. And I just want to see the beast in action a little more. That's all.
So is his philosophy that he needs to capture unpure people who are like untainted, like how Haley Lou Richardson is like never been through anything bad? Is his philosophy that he needs to capture these people and then eat them to like become more powerful?
I don't know if that's it. I think they,
it's really
we'll be here all night trying to put the
pieces
between Patricia's master plan or whoever was the lead. So at this point she sees a little webcam of all the other personalities or something.
Yeah. Then she sees the key, so she grabs the key and starts running. And like this is sort of the whole end where she's run down the corridor and the
final girl, classic final girl chase,
very classic. And like the beast is chasing her. I think this shit rules. The scene of him crawling on the ceiling upside down,
that.
Now swinging, I love that. And then the swing into him hitting each light rules. And I like the POV camera down the shotgun barrel where you can tell that she's trying to follow him like how her dad taught her when she was young.
Love that.
This is all working for me.
Yeah,
the only thing,
big time hit in here.
So this is all right. So we're gonna get into like the ending of this this movie and like I don't know, I guess my final thoughts on it. But this whole scene is like teetering on a razor's edge between working and not working at all for me. And it's this incredibly well shot scene where I'm like, this fucking rules. Like M. Night's killing it in the direction department. Like everything's set up wonderfully. I love the tension. I love the I just love all of it. The only thing that's not working for me is the Beast's monologue is so like corny, where he's like, "We are Legion," and like, you know, he's coming down the hallway and you're like, why is he fucking talking like that? And then like there's the final scene where she traps herself in a cage and shoots him with a shotgun, and you know, he doesn't really take much damage.
Yeah.
And
about
then
2 points of damage.
Yes, he takes about 2. Yeah, he's got fucking bludgeoning resistance.
Yeah.
And then he pries the bars apart in that really cool close up where like McAvoy is just squeezing. He's just squeezing his whole face.
You know, the first time I've seen this movie twice now. The first time I was probably so underwhelmed by the Beast that I just didn't care for it. But the second time I didn't mind the Legion monologue in the bars pull.
Listen, I like the Legion monologue now, but the first time I saw it, I was just like,
okay,
what's going? Like, yeah, I guess that's the context here. Is this whole thing is teetering between not working and working? The first time I saw it,
sure.
But yeah, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? And then he has that whole other monologue where he's like, he sees her scars. And he's like, you are pure or whatever, you know, and he's so big in this moment. And I'm like, what? And then, you know, he runs away because he's not going to kill her because she's pure, and he escapes into Philadelphia and she gets saved. And all of this is happening. And I'm like, okay, I mean, like that was kind of, I don't know. It was all right, I guess. I don't know. It was kind of weird. The tone of that didn't really work. And then you start hearing James Newton Howard's score from Unbreakable. And I'm like, wait, what? Because I know that, you know, I'm sure we talked about it on the Unbreakable episode. I don't
did
remember.
at length.
But I love that score. That's a good fucking score. I love that score. So like, I'm hearing him use this score, and I'm like, wait, what? And then you get the final reveal that Bruce Willis is in the movie. He's like, oh shit, gotta go back to work or whatever. The fucking ending is basically him being like, I'm gonna have to fucking take this guy down. And the whole time it's a secret sequel to Unbreakable, and you're like, what? Remember, it was hype as fuck. Everyone was losing their shit. Brent is rolling his eyes. Well, I guess we'll get his opinion in a second. But I think what works about this twist, that it's a sequel to Unbreakable, is that whole villain monologue he just gave that I was rolling my eyes at now works, because I'm like, oh, it's a comic book movie now. I see. Like, secretly, this whole movie has been existing in the same world as Mr. Glass, like the most, like, you know, over the top corny motherfucking monologuer on the planet. So now all of that makes sense to me. I'm like, okay, I get it. That's the tone of this movie. It's supposed to be in that same world. Works for me now.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of know my thoughts on the I felt like the ending was a little shoehorned in there.
It's not.
But if in fact that he had it like planned since the original or whatnot.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I do not think that when he made Unbreakable, he was like, in 15 years, I will make a secret sequel to this movie. Or even that he even had a whole trilogy. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in 2016, when he made Split, he was like, I've got a really fucking good idea for a movie that would actually work really well in the Unbreakable world. Maybe I should flesh this out into a trilogy. And that's why he made Split. I don't think that he just made Split and then tacked it on at the end. Because it's written, I'll say this, it's written a little bit into the script where Betty Buckley is talking about how these wounded people with these split personalities, that, they might unlock our secret potential to being superhuman. It's in the script.
Yeah, I'm not. That it just didn't work for me that well. You know,
wow.
It's just
wow.
I'm not saying that I wasn't hype when I saw it. You know, of course I was, because I love Unbreakable and I love David Dunn and the character. You know, that movie was incredible. So if I can get more of that, then yes, please. So I'm not saying it didn't work in that way, but it just felt like it was a little tacked on. You know, like just to finish off Split. You know that. Yep. I do like the fact that she took a stand and didn't want to go back to the uncle. I will say that the city zoo should be getting sued, right?
Probably
100%. So there will be lawsuits there. Pretty much to reiterate what you said earlier about Casey's flashbacks working, Kevin's really don't.
They don't. But weirdly enough, I do think Casey's flashbacks, as much as I was complaining about how uncomfortable they made me, they work really well.
Yeah, because it's that's one of the creepiest things you're going to see in a long time. I feel
Ugh.
like, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's just disgusting when you see the uncle pretending to be
Yeah.
a deer or dog or
I
whatever.
think he's being like a bear or some shit. Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. It's all creepy. It's gross. It's creepy. Couldn't look away. Disgusting.
Yep.
And the biggest thing that worked was the personality switching back and forth. That's
Okay.
I also agree. That's kind of my final note. I want to get your who's your favorite character in this movie?
Ooh, that's a good question because there's so many to choose from.
Yes.
Was my favorite character James McAvoy or was it James McAvoy? Because it could have been James McAvoy, but it might be James McAvoy.
Well, let me save you the trouble. I wrote the Horde.
Okay, now before I would probably
That's
just say
all of them, right?
I would just say Hedwig.
The Horde is all of them.
Yes. So here's my thing about the Horde. Is his supervillain name the Beast or the Horde or like what is it? It's the one thing I don't, and maybe they clear it up in Glass and I just don't remember, but like I don't know.
Well,
like,
if it was just the Beast, then I would say the Beast. But because Patricia and Barry got in on the planning, I'm going with the Horde because
I kind of like it then. I kind of like that. The Horde.
The Horde is my favorite character of Split.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, it certainly wasn't fucking Betty Buckley. Should have her license revoked.
Yeah, well, she got her spine revoked.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I give it 3 stars. I think it's all right.
Okay. I give it 3.5.
Okay, yeah. I just like I said, there's some things that bump about this movie, and then like it doesn't always when I'm watching, it doesn't always come together for me. So I'm like,
I bet that half point is my affinity for McAvoy right there. That's the difference maker.
That really might be it because like, yeah, you seem a lot more high on him than I am. So like,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, when you see an actor doing eight roles, like you're not going to see that again.
Eddie Murphy.
Okay, okay, minus the fat suit.
Oh God. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else to say about Split? It's a secret sequel to Unbreakable. We all know this.
Oh God. I feel good. I feel like this was a pretty solid episode. I enjoyed the movie.
I think it's fine. Yeah.
He's after the visit, like these last two, he's trending up again. So
I agree. Yep. And next episode we'll obviously be talking about Glass, which will finish off the Unbreakable trilogy, or the East Rails 177 trilogy.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, that's a terrible name for a trilogy.
I do want to thank everyone for listening, though.
Thank you so much for listening, and thanks for
our little welcome back episode.
Our little hiatus. You can follow us at Film School Dropouts Pod on Instagram, at film_school_pod on Twitter. We're also on Facebook. Give us a little like and a review on iTunes, and I will read your review. We only had one, and it seems like no one likes us anymore. So I guess that's that. That's all right. It was a good review. I can float on that. What review. If I read that review every week until someone else reviews us? Let's not do that. It's a big pass. Big pass. Hell yeah, dude. All right. Well, next week we'll be coming back with Glass. Not next week, just next episode. We're going to go to a little bit more of an unstable schedule because it's just easier for me to not promise every week that I can put out an hour-long podcast. Like the beast, we are untethered. We're unleashed. So yeah, next episode will be on Glass, and we're almost done with our boy M. Night. All right. Sounds good to me. Okay. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. My name is James. I'm Brent. And we will see you soon. Bye. See you.